Hello, everyone. Welcome. Hopefully you can hear me. Please give us some reactions in the audience if you can hear me right now. Oh, look at that. Amazing. I love seeing that. So, welcome to Tevent Talks. My name's Peter, and we're here with Annie Manjavidze, who is the creator of CrossCreators. Annie, I'd love for you to just give us a little bit of an introduction and let's get to know you.
Hi, Peter, and thank you for having me here. So, my background lies into advertising industry, and I had some problems while making immersive experiences for brands for whom I was working, and that's why I decided to do something about it, and that's how Cross Creators was born. So, basically, Cross Creators is a marketplace for augmented reality marketing, brands to get AR content without a hassle.
Right. So that's amazing. So, I've used Cross Creators quite a bit, and we actually used it to create a filter to promote this very event, and I'm sure a few of you have used it. And it's really kind of fun and engaging way to interact with the audience that maybe we haven't seen for a while in the typical marketing. So can you tell us a little more about the very beginning of cross creators? So I think we have to start with augmented reality in itself. What is it? So if we were to describe it to someone who hasn't
Yeah,
experienced it
I'm
before.
sure. I'm sure there are some experts in augmented reality, but let me explain for newbies and newcomers in augmented reality marketing. So the simplest way to explain AR is that it's a technology to bring digital assets in our reality, and how it is activated is it is through our camera, which we have in our mobile phone, in our tablets, or sometimes eyewear. So why augmented reality became so popular the recent years has like several answers, of course, but the main answer is that it became mobile enabled. So there are more than 2 billion augmented reality mobile users. So it's accessible for everyone, so everyone can experience it. And that's why brands started using AR in their marketing and sales strategies.
Wow. So it's amazing that we have all of these kind of smart devices that we use nowadays to make this so accessible. Because I remember when I was younger, augmented reality was a kind of niche thing, and you had to print out like these codes,
Yeah.
tag it on the camera, and it was very awkward to use. But now it's being used by a lot more brands, and you're even seeing a lot more kind of impressive effects of being able to track the whole body and things like that, all in kind of the palm of your hands. So where do you see, the future of this? Is this something that's going to be that we're going to be seeing augmented reality kind of used in marketing all over the place?
Fingers crossed, yes. But let to go back and like to explain more what type of channels are being used for augmented reality experiences. We call it like first party and third party marketing. So with first party marketing, augmented reality experiences are being built into our own websites or applications. And difference between them is that web-based experiences are being activated through our browser. So it's been activated through link, and you don't need to download any kind of application. And like also there are so many differences between web-based and application-based because it's about quality, it's about like one-time or evergreen experiences we want to implement. And what we call third-party AR marketing is that we can use third-party platforms like Facebook, Instagram, what we call filters or effects. So it's easier for brands to start with the third-party AR marketing because of this low budget, because they can test out any kind of experiences on their customers and like to know what type of content works on their customers. So we always recommend to start small, and by small we mean to use third-party platforms. Regarding your questions, like how I see the future of the marketing, my favorite scene would be where we will have this eyewear whenever we will be using this eyewear while walking outside the streets, and we will not be using our phones to see different kind of reality. What I love with augmented reality is that we are not losing reality. We are just extending it and making it better. So why we started with marketing is that it's the really easy to understand why augmented reality works, because like whenever we are not able to deliver messages through static images or even video production, we are able to give away information while making our users heroes of the experience, and that's why it works.
Yeah, it is. That's really well explained because it's a great way as well to get, the audience becomes kind of the subject in a lot of cases. Um, so, what kind of advice would you give to a brand who's starting out? I know you said to get started on these third-party kind of Facebook, Instagram filters.
Mhm.
There any
Mhm.
type of, let's say, effect that works best for certain types of products? Have you found?
So there is no silver bullet, of course. Every brand needs tailored approach, and how we at CrossCreators are helping these kind of brands who don't know how to implement augmented reality is that they need to answer like several questions. The first, what kind of objective do they need to approach with this specific campaign? What type of plan they have? Um, what type of feelings they need to deliver to their customers? So, and like some really easy and simple questions which are provided through platforms, they can answer these questions. And the magic of cross creators is that whenever this order is being placed, like, and they are ready to receive concept ideas, um, more than 2,000 international creators are ready to jump on this project and deliver you some crazy and effective ideas around your objective, what you have listed on this platform. But even if you are not using cross creators and you want to hire some agency, like you need to answer like basic questions. What is your objective? Or what type of campaign do you want? Is it for brand awareness? Is it for visibility? Is it for sales boosting? Is it for just engagement? And for that, like you need to kind of approach your marketing campaign as you're approaching, for example, static banners or video production. So if you're a good marketer in sense of even classic advertising, you'll be also good in augmented reality. So augmented reality is kind of like difficult keywords together, but if done right and with simplicity, of course, it can deliver amazing results. So like compared to classic advertising, for example, like video production, it has 4 times better customer engagement rate, and it can increase your sales at the end of the day very, very easily without hassle.
Right. So one of the obviously the things about augmented reality marketing is it provides many benefits to both brands and creators, as you've just stated. Um, but a problem appears on the side of the creator in actually finding brands, and it can be really a tough situation. We've got for example, the Meta Spark community, which is a great way for
Mhm,
creators to kind of share their
mhm.
their talents and things like that. And we found that people can find, brands can find people to make amazing effects. But obviously, cross creators is a fantastic place to do that. And kind of what are the benefits that cross creators brings to the creator themselves as well?
So problems are on both sides, on creators and client side as well. And one of the main problem is that creators have to do creativity and they don't have to hustle in finding clients and like selling their services, because these creators are not trained to sell their services. They don't know how to make sales campaigns, marketing campaigns, and also another really big problem is between the clients. So whenever you're working without mediator, there are plenty of cases whenever like you're sending out your project to the client and one day this client just disappears without payment. So what is benefit on cross creators for creators and brands as well? Like we're giving them security that this project will be finalized and creators will monetize their skills really safely and not losing the time in communication with the brands that much.
Yeah, so you actually provide kind of, in a sense, some protection for the relationship between the creator and the brand, which is really important because kind of getting those contracts made, all of this, it can be kind of fun and exciting for a creator to get involved in augmented reality and as a career.
Mhm.
Well, but just getting all of that knowledge behind, I think it's such a common experience. What you said about a creator, delivering a project and then
Yeah.
someone run away with that, and it
Mhm. And clients are never satisfied, so it needs to
yes,
be like kind of having a mediator in the middle of the creator and the client, like the clients to stop giving some revisions and updates in
exactly.
it can be in filter on web-based experiences. So it's always nice to have kind of partner who is on your side as well
Yeah,
and is giving some advices how to manage if any kind of problem occurs. And we always try not to show our creators what types of problems are appearing on the client sides or vice versa. So the collaboration on cross creators it seems like seamless.
yeah, exactly. And we had a great experience collaborating with one of your creators as well through Cross Creators.
Yeah, in your case, it was really amazing to work with you because, like, you already knew that there could be really big opportunity for your filter, and you had kind of like idea, and creator then announced another ideas, and it kind of fulfilled your objective, and like together, like you were working like partners in crime, so it was amazing to see the results. And it's really simple filter. If the audience will see, um, it's it's kind of like showing what expertise you will get into 2023. But this is what virality looks like. Like people do like to share the face filters whenever they are sharing their experiences. So no need to make some sophisticated filters every
yeah,
time. You just need one simple, but this simple idea can bring the brilliant results in sense of reach and
yeah.
engagement of your customers.
Yeah, and it really goes beyond the actual filter creation itself, doesn't it? So there's a whole aspect of the virality of these effects, and I think there's a common theme where a creator will spend a lot of hard work and energy on a very complex, amazing filter, and it almost, it doesn't get the recognition it deserves. Whereas sometimes a more simple but proven method such as the
Mhm.
randomizer filters seem to go extremely viral very easily. So there's a balance between this. What do you think about that? Is that something positive, or is it something
Um, yeah, sometimes like creators do cry about it whenever like they are making something really creative and it's not appreciated. But I have different approach and different idea about it, how
Mhm.
to look at it. We also do have those kind of creators who are making um, difficult ideas into simple ones. So it looks simple, but it needs to be a lot of. It needs to have a lot of coding, a lot of 3D designs. But at the end of the day, for an user, consumer, it looks really simple, and that's why sometimes clients are asking like to do it in like in an hour or two, but it can be done, and like there are like plenty of skills needed to do this kind of sophisticated experiences. But um, depending on the usage of this experience, like it can be sophisticated, but it should be always easy to use. So if filter is easy to use, and if filter kind of reflects these trends in that time, for example, now it's really popular to make filters around World Cup because it's like trendy topic. You have always to have the social listening part, depending what result you want to get.
Yeah. No, that
So
makes
if
sense.
you listen to your customers, you can always make effective filter, and not only filter, because sometimes people do not understand that augmented reality is beyond filters and effects, and it can be implemented on website and applications as well. And there are really big opportunities to make these experiences go offline. So it's a first step to step into AR layered metaverse, actually.
Yeah. But that's a very interesting point because I think when we think about kind of the initial kind of consumer thought about augmented reality is you'll think to filters, Instagram filters, face
Mhm.
effects, beauty effect, or the kind of world effects as well. Um, but we don't really think of it typically beyond that in terms of there's a lot more possibilities as well that aren't attached to something like the Instagram camera or TikTok or something like that.
Mhm.
And do you think that there's a lack of awareness on the side of, let's say, marketers about the potential?
Um, we have these problems a lot because, like, whenever something trendy is happening, clients are just coming and asking to do the same, um, even though they don't know how to call it, how to order the specific category of AR experiences. Sometimes they don't even know what is the difference between virtual and augmented reality. So, yeah, it's kind of really big gap. I think that 8 out of 10 marketing managers do not have experience and education because there are not such a resources a lot, and there is not that much hype as it was on keyword metaverse, for example, and it's not really um, easy to understand for them, like whenever they are seeing these experiences and them to discover what type of AR experience it is. Because big brands are already doing it, as we know, and small and medium-sized businesses want to copy them. But it's not easy whenever you don't know all the keywords, how to explain it to the creators. That's why we always try to make it more simpler. And in our blog posts, in our webinars, we always try to translate augmented reality in a simple manner and explain within the example of marketing and sales campaigns.
Exactly, because it is a huge like world in itself, like the potential and what you can do, and it can be kind of overwhelming when you first start looking into it because it's just so much possibility and it's quite can seem quite technical as well, especially when you get more into kind of the web focused AR where you don't have you know
Yeah.
Spark to guide you through as much as you do, and it can be really overwhelming.
Yeah, it's never ending learning,
Yeah,
even for professional creators as well. There is so much possibility. I always say that it can be like Excel. So if you think a lot on augmented reality, like you can make new formulas for that.
yeah,
So there are no like, okay, you can copycat like already experienced experiences and filters, uh, but it's always nice to have some testing and uh, testing campaigns, like what to make differently. For example, like what is new in our creators community is that Spark AR has this opportunity to see the colors in the filters and imagine like pointing out the camera on the specific object, and this filter can tell you what color it is. So it's the perfect opportunity for retailers, for e-commerce, for development companies. But it was just an idea when we were brainstorming with our client. We have not had this experience before, but we tested it, and it appeared that it could be done, and it can have amazing results as well. So we're working on this right now.
yeah. That's incredible. Speaking of kind of these kind of projects as well that you've been working on, are there any kind of names you can tell us? Are there any favorite effects that you or your creators have been working on recently?
So our creators have a huge list of the brands, and it's starting from big brands. It's going down to the small and medium-sized brands, and it's really getting trendy to get experiences for startups
Yeah.
because in B2B categories. Mainly, we were experiencing all the project briefs from B2C companies, but now the companies who are in B2B direction also decided to use AR because at the end of the day, they are talking to humans, right? So augmented reality works really good within the human base because you allow them to become this hero experience and explain your difficult product in a really amusing and informative way. So you can always see with whom we're partnering up, but we also do have some really big NDAs with big brands. So our creators are working internationally, and these brands are international as well. So starting from the big malls with whom we're working on offline experiences and ending to the marketplaces to make the brand awareness campaigns, we are working with the different kind of user personas.
And so why don't we go move in a little bit to kind of the wider metaverse? So that's is a big word that's been thrown around a lot, but I think there's kind of a little bit of a, let's say,
Jungle.
yeah, like a misunderstanding of what it really, really is, if that makes sense. So when we think of metaverse, I think most people are assuming like, oh, it's this m- own Mark Zuckerberg
Yeah.
creation that Facebook's going to take over the world and stuff like that. But I think the metaverse is really more of just the concept of using these extended reality technologies,
Hmm.
such as augmented
Hmm.
reality, such as virtual reality. And so,
Yeah.
what are your kind of thoughts on the metaverse and kind of the hype around it and what it really is to you?
It's kind of jungle for us still because like each of the person in this direction has its own translation of metaverse, and because of this Facebook hype, it's kind of like people are lost because of it.
Yeah.
So it's not a place, it's not a like room, it's not a space. So everyone can create their own metaverse, but only using the technologies what we already have. And these technologies are XR, MR, so AR, augmented reality, virtual reality. Without it, there is no metaverse. And whenever like clients are coming to us and are asking if we are doing some metaverse marketing, sure we are, because like we are doing augmented reality. So and this is the one of the crucial techniques to create metaverse. So um, in my personal view, metaverse for me it's like better version of our reality, and that's why I'm more into the augmented reality team. And I do believe that we have to use our technology to make our lives better in our reality, uh, because like I don't think that in virtual we can like we're human beings and we need socializing, but it's always better to have it offline, and augmented reality just makes our offline experiences better. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm on the team of augmented reality, making our reality better.
It's for me, augmented reality is definitely one of my favorite of the kind of the
Hmm.
XR kind of extended reality technologies, just because of there's so much potential there. So we know a lot about. I think VR is slightly more mainstream, um, and people are kind of more aware of what like virtual reality is. Maybe could you go into the what is the difference between augmented reality and virtual reality?
In a simple manner, how can I explain is that with virtual reality, you are totally losing the actual reality, and you need headset for that. So, in for marketing purposes, it's not quite safe because, like, and you can't go anywhere and you can't walk with it. You are losing your reality, so it's not able to communicate with your customers like for 24 hours. As augmented reality is just extending our actual reality with digital assets, and it can be reachable through our mobile phone, is much more appropriate for everyday life, and that's why in marketing, augmented reality is used much more frequently.
And yeah, so it is definitely, we've seen kind of some really impressive augmented reality effects I've seen recently. For example, the most recent Apple event had a quite beautiful effect that once you went onto their website, you just simply open the camera and it would display this amazing animation of a of kind of like a space theme stars.
Hmm. Hmm.
I've noticed the creativity of the community who create these kind of effects is just outstanding. The types of creations that people are building are you know outside of this outside of this world exactly. Um, and so, what kind of where do you see this going in the future in terms of are we going to be limited to our phones? Are we going to have more heads? Are we going to have glasses, kind of consumer glasses that are simple for us to view this?
Hopefully, we will not be limited by only phones, but I think that it needs to have time to have proper um, eyewear, which can be used like within the masses as mobile phone. But we're going there definitely because it's pretty much needed. So I see the future whenever people are using this every day, like we are using mobile phones, and I'm sure that big brands and big companies are already working on that. As we want everything really fast, uh, uh, I don't think it's happening. But in future 5-10 years, I think that technology will be there, and we will be already like 24-hour users of augmented reality experiences, and like the newer generation, as they are really keen on augmented reality and immersive technologies, they will be really easier and simpler to shift on this kind of life.
Well, yeah, because we're already seeing the initial kind of steps towards that. With, for example, the Meta Quest Pro that was just recently released has a much higher focus on the kind of AR element than the
Yeah.
previous version did. So the previous was fully focused on kind of virtual reality,
Hmm.
Quest and Quest 2, but now we're kind of seeing, as e- even with Microsoft, kind of their headsets are very AR focused, and so, but it seems to
Apple.
be, yeah, Apple's coming soon, and
So yeah, the last edition of the iOS and Apple phones,
yeah,
they're like super uh, for using augmented reality experiences, of course. And we're going there because, like, if there was like this generation of paintings, GIFs, video production, 2D world, like
yeah.
brands are shifting from 2D to 3D world. And without augmented reality experiences and without becoming the heroes of these experiences, um, we're not going in the future.
Yeah, it seems like the way it's going is that we're moving towards this more consumer friendly kind of, we're going to have our own headset, we're going to be able to kind of, I think even Snapchat now has released the first version of their um headset where you can actually just put the glasses on and see kind of snap effects in real time.
And it
uh,
works amazingly.
have you tried it?
Yeah, tried it.
Yeah,
Um, and it works amazingly. Like it can be better, of course, but it's like a first step of the future. So it
yeah.
will be much more lighter. It will be much more easier to use. But anyway, we're going there, and I'm happy that so many people are working nowadays on this technologies to make our lives better. Not only marketing,
Yeah.
of course.
But this is exactly why I think it's so important that we have people like you and people who are working towards this as well, because it right now it's such an early time and it's still just really the first few steps of this. Um, but in a couple of years, a few years, it's going to be a massive part of our lives, I think. So the fact that now you can kind of, you're creating a place where people can start to build a career and people can start to really get into using augmented reality for their business and seeing the results that it can drive. And so I think that that's going to be like a really vital piece of these steps that we're making towards what we're going to be having in a few years' time, and building careers that probably don't even, job titles that don't exist yet within that field. This is the foundation and the groundwork for it. So that's really really exciting. So for you personally, it seems like augmented reality is quite a passion for you, right? So
Yeah.
what was it before that, or what led you exactly to really focus on, this is amazing.
Yeah, I always knew about augmented reality because of Pokemon Go, because I knew about virtual reality more because of like some different kind of games. And me myself, I'm from creative space. I was working for international advertising companies, big brands, small brands. I was in marketing industry. So whenever like if you're in marketing, you know that classic advertising is not working anymore. And it
Yeah.
was like several years ago the same. And the clicks in paid advertising are accidental. So one of the third people are just clicking on your banners, but there is no intention to buy your product at the end of the day. So long story short, like companies are losing money in marketing. So I wanted to create something immersive and something different because I knew that big brands were already doing some kind of like experiences. And whenever this Spark AR became more popular in Snapchat,
Yeah.
I decided to why not to use the AR filters for the campaigns. But at the time, it was like 4 years ago, and I was in Georgia, and it was not quite easy to find AR experts in Georgia. So I decided not to continue the search. But then when COVID started, I wanted to remake this idea. And that's why I went to international market. And my struggle has begun. So I didn't know what type of experienced creators to search, what type of questions should I ask, what type of brief should I give. But this creators community is really kind,
Yeah.
so I made a really good friends there. So we decided to make some specific campaigns for different kind of projects, which I was working as marketing manager. So these results came out to be amazing. So I decided to concentrate more. But as I dig deep in augmented reality, I found out there were like plenty of problems in content creation,
Yeah.
in the creator side as well and company side as well. So that's why I had this close communication with the creators and brands. I decided to do marketplace at this stage, where it will be easier, much more easier for newbies in augmented reality, and not only for newbies, like who doesn't want to lose time in their like full-time job and they need to get amazing results. They can easily go on CrossCreators now, and that was my passion to make something difficult as augmented reality and virtual reality to become more accessible for simple people who don't have this education, what is augmented reality and how technology works. So yeah, this is my passion, like me to talk and give away a lot of information around augmented reality, because I think that whenever you share this view on your future,
Yeah.
as many people know, this future will come much more faster, because whenever we are talking to brands or clients who don't know anything about augmented reality, but whenever we explain and show some references what they can do, they are amazed. So I do believe that if it is communicated correctly to everyone and worldwide, it can give everyone really amazing results.
Yeah. And that seems to be the challenge now, is really communicating the benefits to
Yeah.
brands and things like that. So what are some of the other things that you're doing to do this? You have the blog posts, you have things like that. Are
Mhm.
there any kind of hang-ups where you're stuck, or is there anything that you think could be done more in the field
Mhm.
and like get the awareness out?
Um, I actually think that it could be really amazing to have like once in a month events globally, whenever you are not only communicating with creators and experts in this field, but also to those people who don't might be interested first. But whenever you explain and present augmented reality, it can be really beneficial for them as well. So I think that more offline events around educational events can be done on marketing conferences or specific festivals. So I think that besides content marketing, we also have to concentrate on offline events where people can share and experience on site this augmented and virtual reality.
Well, that sounds amazing. I think that would be quite quite great because especially in offline events, we're able to show off a bit more technology as well that maybe it's not available and what's to come next. Um, I always think about, from the side of a creator as well, it is quite a daunting world to get into. And obviously, so you have cross creators that kind of can provide some support to creators as well. What advice would you give to creators who are getting started in kind of, creating their own business or making a career from themselves in augmented reality creation?
At first, when you are like beginner, we always try to give away education around the specific direction. So you have to choose which type of creator you should be: social media, web-based, or application. And it's always nice to use these third-party platforms like Spark AR, like Effect House, because it's much more easier to use different kind of skills. But before jumping in augmented reality, you have to also learn plenty of skills like coding, like 3D design. So you have to be creative. And the first, like, you have to search for what some other creators are doing for inspiration and start creating your portfolio. So whenever your objective is to partner up with different kind of brands, you have to target them and to create the filters for them. So especially if you want to collaborate, for example, with McDonald's, so you can make your idea like how you could present their burger in augmented reality, and slowly, but consistently create portfolios around it. So whenever you will be ready, and this is also practice while working on different kind of imaginary briefs, you learn a lot. So while only practice is the way you to become professional creator. And also it's really nice you to understand what type of experiences brands are looking. And at first, like, okay, you can look what other creators are doing, but don't forget to create your own unique style, you to be really famous for it. Like each creator in our community has this style, and whenever you will see their filters or creations on different kind of locations, we are kind of like understanding who the creator can be, because like every creator should try to have their own significant tone of voice, and it could be experienced through their creations.
Yeah, no, that's a really, insightful answer as well, because it is important as well for like brands or marketers to realize the field of talent within this within these creators is very varied as well. So, some might be more focusing on like a coding aspect, or some might be more focusing on 3D modeling aspect, which can be related, but can also be quite separate. There's lots of different elements or kind of let's say skill sets that one creator might focus on that another one might not, and having the ability to find someone who can fit this certain skill set for a certain project is
Mm.
really valuable, and that can be hard to do until you've got a platform like cross creators to kind of bring those together and highlight
Yeah, and of course you can partner up with different kind of creators, and you can fill out the gaps what you have in your background. So for example, you know how to code, but you don't know how to make 3D designs. So you can always find the creator on CrossCreators or outside the CrossCreators community, and you can start collaboration together and even open up your own agency. So there is a big opportunity here. It's always nice to know all the skills and to have all the skill sets on your background and in your portfolio, but it's always good to start small just to become bigger consistently.
Yeah, absolutely. I've noticed we're getting a little bit. We've got a few minutes left in here, and then we're gonna open up a
Okay.
room afterwards. So if we leave the stage in a couple of minutes, there'll be a room that anyone can join if you want to kind of just have a
Mhm.
continue a little networking afterwards. Join the conversation if you have any questions that you want to ask personally. But otherwise, feel free to kind of use the questions feature here if you have anything that you'd like to ask, or either to me or to Annie as well. Um, but so far, like it's been a really insightful conversation, and I hope that this kind of thing can happen more regularly, so we can help to kind of get more awareness about the benefits of augmented reality marketing and augmented reality in general, because I just think it's such a powerful tool that should be really used a lot more, and it's just fun as well.
So there is a one question I see here that if target tracking in filters compete with simple face filters. So it's like totally different direction. There are plenty of categories in augmented reality, and two of them are this target tracking, what we also call image tracking, and second one is face filter. So regarding the naming, tracking and image tracking can be activated through the specific image. It can be logo, it can be like 3D model or 2D model. It's kind of like bridge to um, between 2D and 3D world, and you can revive any kind of static image. Um, and in sense of competing, I wouldn't say so because each category has different kind of objective in it. So target tracking and image tracking can be used like whenever we want to wow our user and we want to add some information and add more layer onto our static product or service or logo. And regarding the simple face filter, it's always nice to have for brand awareness and virality because the most popular experiences in our cases are, of course, face filters because it's more shareable. But if your objective is not to be shared and it's just an engagement, target tracking is working really good as well. So depending on the objective, you have to choose the category. And depending on your ability to communicate and give away this experience to your users. You're on mute.
Sorry about that. There's old habits, even back in Zoom days.
Yeah.
Well, but yeah, thank you for the question, Kate. That's really, and thank you, Annie, for the answer. Yeah, there's so much. I mean, I encourage anyone out there just to really explore all the different effects that already exist, the different kind of creators and what they're building. Um, and there's so many different things that you can do, and yeah, while it's easy to kind of consider, oh, which one kind of works better than others, there's always something new, or there's always something new to try, always something. um
Yeah, and it's not easy to explain it with words. It's always nice you to have opportunity to see what I have just said, and um, if someone is interested, they always can come to Cross Creators, and we would share all the kind of experiences regarding the specific objectives they are interested in. So don't hesitate also to reach out after this event as well.
all right, well, I think that's the time for this one. So I just want to thank you again, Annie, for joining us today. It was a really, really insightful talk, and I had a good time talking about augmented reality and all of the benefits, and especially cross creators as well, and how the benefits it can provide for brands and for creators. Um, and so, yeah, thank you so much for
Yes,
joining.
me, and thank you, Tevent, that you are creating this much interesting talks. And I think that we could talk for the future on different topics, and I can even present while I'm talking on this talk, we could always show off some cool experiences.
Yeah, I think we
So,
should set something up soon. But and thank you everyone for joining as well in the audience. It was been a pleasure, and I hope you enjoyed it as well. If anyone wants to join us just for 15 minutes or so, we're going to jump into the other room. You'll see if you press the back button here, there'll be a discussion room that you can join and just jump on a call with us if you like, and we'll be there for kind of 10-15 minutes. But otherwise, thanks everyone so much for being here. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and yeah, take care. Thank you, Fanny.
bye.